now, though, to the controversy surrounding the decision to use a sceptre made from ivory in the coronation. Now, GB News viewers can see the sceptre in question. It will be held on the Queen Consort during the ceremony, and there's been speculation that it would not be used, particularly given Prince William is involved in a campaign to stop the illegal trafficking of animal parts, such as elephant ivory, through his organisation United for Wildlife. Now, joining me is former royal correspondent Michael Cole. Michael, thank you very much. Now, Camilla has also already given way when it comes to the diamond that caused so much controversy, of course, and now it's the Koh-i-Noor diamond, and now there's serious question marks about whether or not she should be holding this ivory sceptre, and people are getting very, very bothered about it. Where do you stand on it? Do you think that she should ditch it?
Well, no, I don't think she should, because this beautiful jewel, which is made of 3 pieces of elephant ivory, dates back to 1685, and it was made for the Queen of James II. So it falls well outside the recent prohibitions on the trading or provision of any sort of ivory. And of course, one deprecates these vile hunters who go after ivory in everything they do. So we're with Prince William very much in his campaign there. But this is not going to help an elephant by banning something that is more than 300 years old. And it is a very beautiful piece of craftsmanship by the jeweller who made it at the time. You say, and you're quite right, of course, the new Queen, Camilla, has avoided the controversy over using a crown which would have incorporated the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Koh-i-Noor, which means mountain of light. Now, that diamond is very controversial. It's the original blood diamond, if you will, and it's claimed by 4 other nations, apart from Britain, which actually possesses it. It's claimed by Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, and of course, India. So Queen Camilla, as she will be crowned, will be wearing the crown of Queen Mary, and that has a beautiful diamond, or several beautiful. In fact, it's got 2,200 beautiful diamonds in it, but it features the Cullinan diamond, or pieces of the Cullinan diamond, which came from South Africa. So I think, of course, there's going to be controversy about that, but all these things have to be taken into account. I think on this occasion, tradition must trump modernity.
Well, that's the line, isn't it, Michael? That is the line, that this is part of tradition and that there's pomp and ceremony. And it is also worth noting that the ivory staff which Camilla will use was made in 1685 for Queen Mary of Medina, the wife of James II, who was the first Queen Consort to participate in a coronation ceremony following the restoration of the monarchy in 1660. So it goes way back. It's not as if, of course, there is some kind of new elephant that's been culled for the sake of all of this. But animal rights activists and campaigners, and frankly anti-monarchists as well, will jump on this and say it's cruel and it shows how out of touch they are. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that's an unjust and unfair criticism. Of course, I don't mind them focusing on that, because you and I both feel it's absolutely disgusting when these fat, pot-bellied hunters go out and shoot a buffalo or an elephant. We think that's vile and it should be outlawed, and certainly the trading in ivory, which mostly goes on in the Far East, it must be said, should be outlawed, and that's where the emphasis should be. But I think tradition must trump all that, and on this occasion, it is a beautiful piece of work. I don't mind them using it as a focus for their outrage, and they're entitled to be outraged by it because it's a disgusting trade and it should be stamped out. But, you know, this coronation is going to be different in many ways, but some traditions must be maintained. For instance, the Queen, when she was 26, she went to her coronation in the Gold State coach, and the route was 3 times as long as that's going to be taken by the King and Queen Camilla. And the Queen remarked afterwards how uncomfortable this 4-ton Leviathan, this juggernaut, was. And she traipsed all around the West End, Oxford Street, Regent Street, Lower Regent Street, Trafalgar Square, Northumberland Avenue, the Embankment, to get to Westminster Abbey, and of course the same back. This time, the King and Queen Camilla will be going just up the Mall, through Admiralty Arch, down Whitehall, Parliament Street, round Parliament Square to the Abbey. And of course, they will not be travelling on their way to the coronation in the great, wonderful, drawn by 8 beautiful grey horses, gold stake coach. They'll be travelling in a very, very wonderful piece of work, which is the Diamond Jubilee State Coach, and you showed it to us all earlier.
Yeah.
And that was made in Australia. And it's a great piece of work, and the crown on the top is made from wood from HMS Victory, and somewhere within the coach is hidden a fragment of the cloth from the dress of Florence Nightingale, who was a big friend of Queen Victoria.
That's unbelievable. Fantastic stuff, Michael. Great way to start the show. That was Michael Cole there. He's a former royal correspondent who's been doing a lot of research when it comes to everything we can expect from the coronation. Now, that element of controversy, OK, we're going to be delving into a little bit later on in the show as well. I've got a couple of animal rights activists on. Let us know what you think. gbviews@gbnews.uk. Do you care that one of the sceptres that Camilla is going to be holding is prominently featuring ivory in it? Of course, people are saying now this means they're out of touch. One thing as well, though, that's going to be different is the route for the King's coronation. It's now been revealed, and it will be far shorter than his mother's. It will stretch just 1.3 miles compared to 5 miles in 1953. And if you're watching us on TV or you're watching us online, you'll be able to see a graphic here now of this route, of course, starting at Buckingham Palace. And they will travel, their Majesties will travel from Buckingham Palace in the King's procession to Westminster Abbey. And the King's procession is going to be a coach accompanied by the Sovereign's escort of the Household Cavalry, created for Queen Elizabeth II to commemorate the 60th anniversary of her reign in 2012, as Michael was saying there. They will get to Westminster Abbey as well, and the gilded crown on top of the Diamond Jubilee coach was carved from the oak of HMS Victory. Michael has done a fantastic job of summarising all of this stuff for us. Then they'll make their way back, OK, in the coronation procession. The Gold State coach then is fantastic. It's unbelievable. It was commissioned in 1760, so literally living history here. So I know we'll all be glued to that. But it's not just the route that King Charles will take that's been announced. There are 26 days to go now until the coronation, and all of the plans are coming together, including a variety of different elements to it, including St Edward's crown, the Sovereign's orb, which will be all these little fascinating trinkets, as it were. I don't know if you can call them trinkets. I mean, they are literally priceless, aren't they? There's even been a special coronation emoji commissioned, which no doubt we will all be using. We've spoken a lot about the Jubilee coach and the Golden State coach, that coronation sword, and, of course, the coronation spoon, believe it or not, as well.